Wow. Never knew that a default intro music could get me absolutely fired up. Absolutely emotional. Because today is a day that I think, frankly, everybody, at least in the community of the Boston Celtics, will remember forever. The Boston Celtics are a win away with a chance in Dallas to close it out and capture its 18th banner. And to me, there's a question right now. It's like, do you win it in Dallas? Do you win it? You get the sweep, or do you go to Game 5 and you try and win it in front of your home crowd? To me, I think there's a beautiful aspect of getting a sweep. I think the ability for a team to essentially just lose 2 games during a playoff run, that'll be remembered forever. That will literally be remembered forever. So if I'm the Boston Celtics, I don't have the thought of let's win it in front of our home fans. We're all watching. Sure, it would be nice to get it done in TD Garden, 1000%. But this idea that, the team is thinking that way, no. Boston's going out there tonight to close it out. Boston is going out there tonight to get it done. They have celebrations probably already in place. I just remember when we were in the finals 2 years ago, it was against the Golden State Warriors, and they took a 3-2 lead, and the game 6, it was in Boston. And so everybody's thinking, oh, Boston's going to win that because Golden State will then close it out in game 7. We get a game 7 in an NBA Finals. That's electric. And obviously Steph Curry took over and they won the game in game 6. But the rumors before were Golden State's planning a party at this local club or bar, or whatever the case was. There's pre-plans occurring right now about the Boston Celtics celebrating tonight after winning their 18th banner. The mindset is we get it done tonight. I don't think anybody on that team is expecting to lose tonight. I don't think anybody on that team wants to lose tonight. Sure, you want to win it in front of your home crowd, but isn't there an aspect of like, dude, if we win it tonight, we win the whole thing? And to me, all year, it's always been about no sugarcoating. Just get it done. And this is the prime example of it. There has been zero sugarcoating during this NBA playoffs for the Boston Celtics. They've done nothing but what they are supposed to do. They've lost 2 games against 2 teams that didn't even have their star player. So you can basically cross those games out and say we won every single game this year in the playoffs. This is the most historic run. One of, I'll say one of. But in terms of greatness, in terms of the all-time teams, I heard a bunch of people talking about, we don't want to, but I think we're going to have to add this 2024 Celtics team into a mix of teams that we don't want to compare them to. The 95-96 Bulls, the 2018 Warriors. Everyone was saying, like, I'm not ready to put them in that category yet because we haven't seen them get challenged. We didn't need to see any of those other teams get challenged. Michael Jordan, has he ever played in a game 7? This bias against our squad and trying to just nitpick every single thing about it because the rest of the NBA is cooked this year. It's a horrible mindset. And to me, you got to give credit where credit is due. And it does not matter the opponent. The Celtics just literally cruised through an entire season. And the expectation was title. How many times do you see a team that is just like, all right, we win, this is our year? The Dallas Cowboys every year. This is our year, and they never get it done. How many times have you actually seen it happen where a team just stands on their business? This was one of the greatest runs. It'll be remembered as one of the greatest runs for a short memory. This NBA championship is going to be about as short lived as Derek White's buzzer beater in game 6 last year until we followed it up with a loss in game 7 on our home court. Why? Why do I say that it's going to be short lived? Well, we'll get to soak it in until the next NBA champion. We are the defending champs. But to me, I think the focus, the narrative, it all shifts after tonight. The second that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown win their first championship, this season's done. This season's over. The media forgets about it. Not forgets, but they pretty much move on. They're like, all right, we're not sugarcoating this. Like all of this entire season, we had to hear about Denver and how Denver's the defending champs. We're not going to have to hear about that. Maybe we'll hear about how Boston is really, really good, but everyone's going to forget this title. And then they're going to be like, all right, when are y'all going to win your second one? To me, this is the start of the greatest dynasty in NBA history. So when you look back 20 years from now, nobody's going to say that first title was their best team. Nobody does that about Golden State squad. Nobody does that about the 95. Nobody does that about the Chicago Bulls. Why would anybody say that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's first championship was their best squad, was their best, team, was their best moment? No, it wasn't. In 5 years, Tatum and Brown are going to be 5x what they are right now. So you can only imagine when they win the title that year, that's the best squad. This is just going to be a buildup. They're going to get all the accolades. They're going to pile it on. They're going to ring chase. They are going to stay. And by ring chase, I mean they're staying in the same spot because they got the right team. They got the right duo. And they're just going to become the greatest NBA franchise of all time and in this era of life. Everybody loves to say the idea that, sure, the Boston Celtics were good back in the day. Sure, they have 17 championship banners, but what have they done in recent memory? And I think this championship really shuts that narrative up. Because when I hear something like that, I'm like, the Lakers are like an on and off squad that like every once in a while has got into the playoffs over the course of the last 15 years. Whereas the Celtics, they're there every year. They're in the mix every year. And then, a couple of years, they have a really, really good squad that was built because of Tatum and Brown. They almost got it done. And then next thing you know, we win the title. To me, I think stop disrespecting the Boston Celtics name and put some respect on it because it is the most historic and now the greatest NBA franchise in the history of the sport. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm tired of the media, but more importantly, I'm so happy for this team. They're going to try and break up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for the rest of the time. That's second nature. We were on the show yesterday, and all Nathan was talking about is, yeah, sure, now Tatum and Brown have gotten it done, but at some point we're going to need to see one of them do it without the other. And I'm like, that is the problem with our universe. How are you about to say that all these years leading up to Tatum and Brown, they should break up, they should break up, they should break up? Then finally it's like, all right, they're not getting it done. When are they going to get it done? They get it done. And then now you're going to say, well, they got to get a couple more and then go break up because we need to see them without each other to see who's better. No, we don't. We'll win 6 championships. We will laugh at every single one of y'all. We'll enjoy our wins. We'll enjoy our greatest dynasty in basketball now. I got to witness it in football with the Patriots. Now I'm going to get to witness it with the Boston Celtics. The ring helps Brown more? What? Let's check out a chat right here. Want to hear your thoughts on this, Jack? With a championship, does this help Tatum or Brown's chances at individual awards, MVP, All Stars, All NBAs, etc.? Absolutely. I think for one, we'll start it with Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is now going to be considered for real this time for any first and second team award. The media has started the narrative of Brown's better than Tatum. So if you want to stand on your business when you say that, then he's got to be considered as a first or second team All NBA for the remainder of his career, or at least the next 3 to 5 years. Jaylen Brown is a top 15, top 12, top 11 basketball player in the league, and he gets treated during the regular season like he's nobody, like he's not impactful, like he doesn't have a left hand. To me, I think the media just reads people on social media, and that's all it is. Just watch the game and understand the greatness of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and then you'll start to realize that, oh, maybe Jaylen Brown should win an MVP. Oh, maybe Jason Tatum is the most valuable player, not on the Boston Celtics, but in the entire game of basketball. So I do think it'll help both of them, and I think Tatum is somebody that could win an MVP. But I mean, the team's so great right now. You saw those Golden State years. Steph and KD were never the true, MVP front runners, and that we all knew that it was Steph and KD and LeBron. That was the league. Those were the three guys. But when Steph and KD were on the same team, they didn't give either one of those guys any MVP recognition. The same energy might be brought to Tatum and Brown, especially if Jaylen Brown wins Finals MVP, or even just, what we've seen during these playoffs. It's more proven that Jaylen Brown is experienced and has an ability that many players in this league do not have, that a lot of players get credit for, and they don't actually. Devin Booker, it's a prime example. Who would you rather have, Devin Booker or Jaylen Brown? To me, I don't think it's close, and I think people make it like Devin Booker's this superstar because he was dating the Kardashian. He's been to a title. Like, give me a break. Give me an absolute break. Jaylen Brown is 10 times the basketball player that Devin Booker is, at least in this moment. Sure, you can be a good offensive player, but what is Luka Doncic? He's a liability. So if you can't play defense, and I'm not saying that Devin Booker can't play defense. What I'm saying is this year has taught us that the game of basketball is a two-sided thing. And I think for the past 5 years, at least, watching the game, it's like, it's a very offensive heavy league. It's a shot making league. And it's like, who makes the shots? That's really all that mattered. We're starting to realize how important defense is. And not realize, like, I think everybody's realized it, but you really see it firsthand with a guy like Luka Doncic. You expect Luka, who's this top 3 offensive guy. He could be the best offensive player in the league. I think most people would categorize him as that. And he's literally a liability on the defensive end. That is the opposite of recipe for winning a championship. So if you're Luka Doncic, you got to just ask yourself a lot of questions this offseason. You got to figure out a way to not be a liability. Luka's a good basketball player. He'll figure it out. He'll be a good defensive guy next year. He was playing good team defense during these playoffs, but no team attacked Luka the way the Celtics did, which is why Luka Doncic has looked like such a liability. No team has done this. This was the Celtics game plan. This was the luxury that the Celtics have of having literally an offensive weapon at all 5 positions at all times on the court. There's never a liability for the Celtics. Never. I also think that there's something to talk about with defense. This generation of life is so influenced by basketball players. Like, even myself growing up, I was so influenced by certain superstars in the NBA, certain NFL guys, but I was more of a basketball guy, so I related more to the basketball players and wanted to be like them a little bit more. But it's basically like when I watched Steph Curry growing up, I then watched myself play the game and I was like, damn, I'm trying to be exactly like Steph. And then now I watch so much Tatum, and when I hoop, I look like Tatum. I try and play like Tatum. I try and do his step backs. I try and do his sidestep. I try and do, the way he shoots, like with that little hitch. It's all the little things that you try and copy from your superstar favorite players. And I think the NBA players and the NBA superstars, at least, I think they need to look at what has happened during this NBA season. They need to understand the All-Star game was a joke. The All-Star game had zero defense. And from that point on, the referees basically said, all right, we're not going to be blowing that whistle too much. So get super physical, play some defense, and let's see what happens. And I think for the first time in a long time, there's been a lot of really, really good defense in the playoffs. A lot of really good defense. So where am I going with this? This idea that the NBA superstars have such a wide influence, such a big influence on the younger generation and the game of basketball. Look at what Steph Curry did. He made the game of basketball change. There's influence here. I know it's not flashy and fantastic, and I'm not going to be the person that's necessarily going to lead the way with this. But at what point do superstars say, all right, let's make defense kind of like the most important thing? Like, who cares about offense? Who cares about shooting a three-pointer? Who cares about making all these cool moves? How about everybody just try and aspire to be Drew Holiday? Like at what point, if you're playing defense like that, if you're aspiring to be a defender like that, at what point is pickup basketball like enjoyable again? Like, bro, I'm playing basketball yesterday. We were doing a little 3-on-3 outside. Got a couple of teammates that I've never, met or anything like that. These dudes are sleeping on defense. These dudes are not doing anything defensively. They're standing there like cones. And I'm like, that's not them. That's the NBA influence. I get caught doing it myself. I'm like, who cares about defense? It's an offensive league. Can you hit a step back? Can you look flashy and fantastic on the offensive end? No, it's not. This NBA Finals, before it, 90% of them, not 90, I'd say about 50-50. A lot of the media was like, Luka and Kyrie are the best backcourt of all time. They're the greatest duo of all time. They're the best offensive backcourt of all time. So that trumps all, and they're going to beat the Celtics because they got the better duo, and nobody can guard Luka and Kyrie. And the literal opposite of that analysis has happened. It's been a defensive series where the better offensive team won because defense led to offense, and Dallas couldn't do anything. Like all series. I'm just curious. I know this probably doesn't make half any sense to any of y'all, but to me, at some point, I think NBA superstars got to look themselves in the mirror and say, we have such a wide influence on offense. Why can't we do it with defense? Why can't we get all these 12, 13, 15, 17-year-olds to feel so good about themselves? So make it feel enjoyable playing defense. Pretend like offense is defense. Pretend like when you get a stop, that's worth 2 points. When you get a stop, celebrate to the crowd. I don't know what it's going to take, but the game of basketball is better when defense is there. And when it's not there, it's very obvious. It's very evident. It's very like, all right, what are we doing? Are we even playing the game, or are we kind of just running up and down and doing just a whole lot of nothing? Greatness is upon us, fellas. So I want to quickly get into the sponsor of the show, SoBet. Let's check out. Let's see if SoBet's got any fun plays for us today. See if any of the sports betting experts have already put out their plays. Looks like we got a soccer play here. Uh, let's see. $1 million bets on SoBet giving out Scotland plus 1.5. Love that play, even though I don't know a lick about anything involving this game. But even if you don't know what it is, I mean, this guy does. $1 million bets. He's the $1 million bet guy. So I would hammer it. Buddy go 1-0 in WNBA. Fire. Parlay Poppy coming out with some Friday plays. What does he got? He's got Guardians money line against the Blue Jays. The Guardians and the Orioles. Those are the two teams that I think a lot of people are betting on this year during the MLB. They're wagons, man. They just win baseball games. That's tough. Look at Rhino bets. Look at that. Over 5.5 right there for the Stanley Cup final last night. Oilers 3-way did not hit, I think a lot of people were on the Oilers last night, but the Sharps, they knew what was up. They knew Florida was going to take the 3-0 lead. It's a nice little 3-2 day. Low-key, the books kind of got us yesterday, huh? Tough day for the people. But anyways, go hop on SoBet. To check that out, just use code Jackpot when signing up. Head over to SoBet.io or download the app. It's the best of the best in terms of getting advice, getting picks for sports betting, and how you win some money. Let's see what we got here. Took Tatum's first half over. Last game, was very happy. Yeah, he had 20 points at halftime. He had about as good of a first half as he's had all playoffs. That's awesome, man. Great bet. Yeah, but I think, like, what if Steph promoted his defense? Maybe I'm wrong to say that. Maybe this whole idea is just a whole bunch of nothing. I just see the influence that a dude has when he shoots a three or a step back or a dunk. And I ask myself, why can't it be the same when you're blocking a shot or guarding somebody? And I really think it would improve the game so much. And by game, I just mean being able to go and play 3-on-3 outside and knowing that your two other teammates are actually going to go sit down and play some defense. Like, I can't be in a 3-on-3 and I got two of my guys sleeping on defense. That is James Harden. That's the James Harden effect. That's the Luka Doncic effect. Everyone wants to play like Luka now. I'm the greatest offensive player, but I'm just going to kind of be basically a liability on the defensive end. Don't try and be like Luka, because Luka does not win a championship. It's just hard to find players that will. Yeah, I mean, it's just a very difficult thing. There's a reason why it's not like popular. There's a reason why there's the Drew Holidays, the Pat Bevs, the Marcus Smarts. You got these guys, but then you look at the Defensive Player of the Year award was given to the worst defensive player in the NBA. So it's like the NBA is not helping. The WNBA is not helping the Caitlin Clark hype right now. It's the same thing with the NBA and defense. They've never really helped it over the course of the last 20 years. The NFL, they're a league that is very offensive heavy at this point. Why? You protect injuries. You create rules that allow for the defense to be fairly limited. I think you got to go in a different direction if you're the NBA. You have these superstars. You have all these stars. They're going to be there always. How do you improve the game? It's very simple to me. Defense. It wins championships. It won a championship for the Celtics. Say what you want. The Celtics game plan made Dallas look like fools. Dallas was the team that was supposed to be the best Western Conference squad. They were supposed to be the team that was going to play against the Celtics, and no team out of the West was going to lose to the Celtics because it was a Western Conference team, and Boston made that team look like they had no idea what they were doing. How did every analyst ignore the fact that Boston was just better? They were just better. Always. And just because they choked in the last 2 years, that's what everyone used the narrative. Everyone looked at, hey, Tatum and Brown didn't have a great game 7 against the Miami Heat last year. That has nothing to do with this year. This is 2024. Perimeter defense is very important. It's very important, you know? But anyways, who y'all got game 4? I'm thinking, I kind of gave y'all my prediction earlier in the show, but this idea that Boston does not want to go back for a game 5. Dallas doesn't. Nobody does. This is over. It's over. It's absolutely Kentucky Fried Chicken cooked. Get it done. Get it done. I can't believe it, man. But you got to understand, this is the first of many. This first championship is just for us to kind of get the media off our back a little bit. Like, at what point can we just live our lives? I feel like the media this year made sure that it might be Boston's year. We're going to make it a living hell for them. And I felt like that was a little disrespectful, but it was like well respected because, the only reason why they were giving us that energy is because we were truly the best. But I think when you take a full look at everything, you look at the bigger picture of life. Everyone's going to say the Boston Celtics window is closing. Everyone's going to say the cap space, the salary cap. I don't even know the terminology of it. All I know is that it's not about that. People are ignoring the greatness of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. How many times do I have to say it? It's not about Kristaps. It's not about Derek White or Drew Holiday or Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, Brad Stevens, Joe Mazzulla, David Ortiz, Dustin Pedroia, or Tom Brady. It ain't about anybody other than Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They started this. We drafted Brown with the 3rd pick. We traded back the next year. We had the 1st pick. We said, Markelle Fultz, yeah, we're good. We'll take Jason Tatum. And then what happened? Basically a 5-year stretch of not only misery, but growth and greatness. And we got to a point where, well, man, it doesn't even look like any team can compete with us. We are witnessing, in the year of 2024, we are witnessing the greatest basketball team of all time before our very own eyes. This is the start. And when you start giving me rings to talk about, that makes my argument real. It's all been a fantasy. It's all been imagination. And now here we sit, and Tatum and Brown are actually about to win their first championship. And what happens if they go back to back next year? What happens if they three-peat? What happens if they win 4 championships in the next 5 years? What are you going to say then? They should break up? Well, guess what? That's what you said about Shaq and Kobe. Where do Shaq and Kobe land among the top 10 basketball players of all time? I believe it's around number 4 and number 6 on my list. So say what you want. Tatum's better. Brown's better. It don't matter. They're part of each other's legacies now. This is a duo. This is MJ and Pippen. They go together. They win together. They are together. There's nothing that separates them except for the media. So media, shut the hell up. I don't want to see them separate. Nobody does. For literally 7 years. 8 years. I don't know. Tatum, I think this is his 7th year. Brown's 8th. Could be wrong. Someone stat check me on that. Stat fat check me. But man, I mean, it's been 7 years of people trying to break them up. People for 7 years have tried to break up the Jays. They're going to do it for another 7. Why? Because they don't want to see Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown do it together because now they're going to see it. Now they've seen it. Once you see it, it's like, all right, it gets old. We're good. It ain't going to get old for me. Because I've heard all the noise. I've heard all of it. I've heard everybody say all these different things about how Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's window is closing and how they're never going to win a championship and how they're never going to work out and how Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are the most overrated duo in the history. I've heard it all. And everybody was wrong. That's fine. Stay on that side. Stay on that side. We'll accept our people. We are our people. Nobody else is allowed in. This is our inner circle. Stay out of it. Stay away. This is the Boston Celtics. When we win 6 championships, I don't want nobody hopping on no bandwagons or saying Tatum this, Tatum that. Keep saying that Jason Tatum is not good. Keep saying that Jaylen Brown doesn't have a left hand. Because when they have to be known as the greatest duo and as the greatest 2 players of all time in NBA history, that's when we're like, all right, you can't say shit, media, but you're going to try and backtrack, and I'm just going to be like, you were wrong, and I was right. I want to clear something up. People think that I don't give enough love to Jaylen Brown. People don't think that I spread enough words of wisdom for Jaylen Brown. People think I'm more of a Tatum guy. I'm here to tell you right now, it doesn't matter. Jason Tatum is allowed to be the best player in basketball, and Jaylen Brown can be the second best player in basketball, or they can alternate, be first and second, whatever the case may be. I know deep down who the better player is. I know deep down who I trust more, but I'm not going to tell y'all who I trust more because that's just going to divide them. They're on my team. They're on the Celtics. They're 2. They're greatness. They're a duo. It's not one. It's not. Did anybody watch the Patriots Tom Brady Hall of Fame induction ceremony thing? The overall message from watching the greatest football, not quarterback, the greatest football player of all time be inducted into his team's Hall of Fame and having 60,000 people basically gather to watch it, including former teammates and coaches and all their families and just the entire fan base of the New England Patriots showed up. The overall message that I got from that was that in order to build a dynasty, which is what I have my eyes set on right now, is it ain't about me. It ain't about Tom Brady. It ain't going to be about Jason Tatum. It's about the team. It's about Sam Hauser. So sure, maybe I'm being a little hypocritical right now. Maybe I'm twisting my words and backing myself up a little bit because I've been all this, Jason Tatum that. He's the greatest basketball player of all time before our very own eyes. Is that enough for y'all? But that doesn't mean that the rest of the team doesn't matter. Jaylen Brown means something. Derek White, they all mean something. Because when I was watching that Patriots thing, when I'm hearing everybody say all these beautiful things about Tom Brady, it was about the team. You walked into that stadium, you look up on that stage, and you see the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady talking at his Hall of Fame inductions, not Hall of Fame, Patriots Hall of Fame induction ceremony. He's up on stage with Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski, Randy Moss, and Wes Welker. If that's not the greatest wide receiving core that could ever be established, formed, and nobody's saying that Brady played with super teams. We always love to say that he played with a great defense. He had great offensive players, but nobody ever said a super team, and nobody ever said, hey, Tom, sure, you kind of just sit in a pocket. Everybody else, they do their thing. Like everybody was always trying to take away from what Tom Brady created and what Tom Brady was running. It was Belichick and Brady, but it was everybody else involved because football is a team sport. Now, basketball is a little different. Basketball, you can kind of have, the star-driven LeBron and a bunch of scrubs. But I feel like in the age of 2024, in the year of 2024, there's no more one-man show. Like, you have to have such a good team to win a championship. And people are going to ignore how great this Celtics team was. We're going to all try and forget about it as a media. Everyone's going to be like, all right, congratulations, fellas. Let's get on to next year. Nikola Jokic is the greatest basketball player of all time. That's what people are going to do. I just want people to understand it's about the team. It's always been about the team. That doesn't mean you can't have a leader, a best player. Doesn't mean Jason Tatum can't be the superstar on the team, but it's about the team. It's about if you want to build a dynasty, which is what we all want. We all want this to be a dynasty. If you want to build a dynasty, it's not the Jason Tatum dynasty. Nobody calls it the Tom Brady dynasty. They call it the Patriots dynasty. And I'll call it the Celtics dynasty. The new Celtics dynasty. Greatness is upon us, fellas. Greatness. When I look down, when I look up, when I look sideways, right, left, up, and down, it don't matter. The only word that comes into my mind is greatness. Because on a day like today, that's really all you can think about. I don't know how long I've been waiting for this moment. I don't know how long I've been waiting for this day. And although the media kind of made it a little anticlimactic, although the media tried to shit on us the whole way, we made it through. We answered the punches. And we stand strong as the greatest starting lineup, the greatest team, and the future dynasty of this league. I don't have many other words other than it's all about Banner 18. The reason why it's all about Banner 18, though, man, is because once you get one, then the rest follow. Like the amount of guys that never got that championship, never got over the hump. You just got to ask them. Or ask a million. Ask somebody that's made a lot of money in their life. How hard was it to make the first million versus that 59th million? How hard was it to make the first 100K, make the first $1 million versus your 50th million? They'll probably be like, it was pretty easy. We got to 1 million, then the rest, then we just made 50 million just like that. That's logic. That's life. And in the wise words of Tyler Ryan, get it done. I love it. Let's try and think of some player props tonight. Oh, actually, no. I got one. Jason Tatum over 27.5 points. Why? Because he's 30 points away from becoming the all-time playoff leading scorer before the age of 27 or at the age of 27. Or no, he's 26. So it's the stat is the most playoff points before the age of 27. The list stands right now as Kobe at 1, Tatum at 2, MJ at 3. Or was it LeBron? I forget which one it is. I think it's MJ. But either way, I know it's Kobe at 1 and I know it's Tatum at 2. And I know Tatum's 30 points away. So if you think that Jason Tatum's not going to score 30 points tonight, you lost your mind. You have lost your absolute mind. It's never been more clear. Jason Tatum goes out with a bang tonight. And the Celtics capture banner 18. Man. Since 2017, we've been knocking on the door for so long with so many different teams, but only two guys have been here through it all. That was very well said. Very, very well said. We're so close, fellas. And I can't wait for the celebration. I can't wait to go to a parade. I can't wait to soak it in. Soak in the moment of greatness. What's the better bet? Under 200 or over 200? Honestly, it's probably going to be a low scoring game. It's probably going to be a defensive game. So I would go under, but that's a tough line because that's not a lot of points, especially for great offensive players. But the trend during these NBA finals has kind of been the under, I believe. Just from watching it, you just no matter how good a team can get off, in terms of their first, second quarters, the third, the fourth, it kind of just tenses up. It kind of just becomes a chess match. And so I would lean under 200, but Tatum over 30. Tatum is scoring 30 points tonight. I promise. Yeah, I normally say that. Tonight, I really have a statistical reason for why he has to score 30. We all know how Jason Tatum feels about Kobe Bryant. Jason Tatum, score 30 points tonight and become the all-time leading scorer in playoff history before the age of 27. All right, let me know in the chat who y'all think wins tonight. And we're going to get out of here. Show is sponsored by SoBet. Make sure you go sign up for SoBet. I appreciate everybody for tuning in today and checking out this awesome edition of the Morning Jackpot. Game 4, NBA Finals. Celtics, Mavericks with a chance. Just a chance. It's happening. Who wins Finals MVP is a very interesting question, and I'm not going to predict it. Is there a code if I register to SoBet? Yeah. So when you sign up for SoBet, you just got to use code Jackpot. It's right on the screen here. JACKPOT. You go sign up, and they just have the best sports betting pros on there giving you picks. So it's a feed. It's like a Twitter feed. It's like a Instagram feed, but it's only sports betting picks from expert analysts that SoBet has got to post on the feed, and it's just it's very helpful because instead of like relying on your own opinions, sometimes you can just you can say, hey, I think the Phillies are going to win today, but then all right, let me go on to SoBet. Let's see, is anybody on the Phillies? Is anybody on the Red Sox instead? And then you kind of measure it all out and you compare and you contrast. And if you want to just fully tail blindly a couple of sports betting pros on SoBet that you believe are going to hit you money and you've seen their track record, then yeah, do that. But you can also just use it as, information, a way to say, hey, do I like the Phillies today? Do I like the Red Sox? Let me go on SoBet. Let's see where are they leaning. And usually each game has one type of bet by somebody. So it's great for MLB, I think, the most because MLB is one of those sports that every day there's so much action to be played. But if you don't know baseball, it's hard to bet on it. So you just got to understand it, or you got to at least get on SoBet and have them help you understand it. So use code Jackpot when you're signing up. But I appreciate everybody for signing up. It supports the show and helps the show. Appreciate it, Jimmy. We got dogs barking outside. Sounds like Tatum and Brown. Any final questions before I get out of here? Please drop them in the chat. Alrighty. Life goes on tonight. I can't wait, bro. It's just going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be a beautiful thing to watch. See that ball be thrown up into the air, hear the buzzer sound, and just hear Mike Breen. The Celtics are world champions once again. Like, I don't know what it's going to sound like, but the Boston Celtics return to glory. Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. All right. Final question of today's morning jackpot. Probability of Boston for winning in game 4, or will they close in their home in 5? Jim, as awesome as it would be to close it out in front of our home fans in Boston, I just think this team, they don't give a damn about that. They care about winning the title, period. And the opportunity is right in front of them. They know how it's felt to lose. They know how it's felt to get to this point and come up just short. They know how it's felt to win a couple of games in an NBA Finals and it just not be enough. You cannot give away games. So with that being said, the Boston Celtics will sweep the Dallas Mavericks, win it all in game 4, not return to game 5 in Boston. It's over. We did it. That's going to do it for the morning jackpot presented by SoBet. Make sure you go download the SoBet app. Make sure you go sign up for SoBet and have some fun. Hopefully y'all win some money this weekend if you're hopping on SoBet for the first time. But appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we will see y'all when the Celtics have won their 18th banner.